In 2005, we were back in the Middle East on another contract. We really like it up there. And hubby came home from work one day and he said, I don't want to do this anymore. I said, okay, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to go cruising. And I'm, okay, all right then. Not really actually believing that it would materialise. This was in the middle of 2005. By the end of 2005, we were all packed up and we were back in New Zealand. And I could sort of see that this was going to happen, whether I wanted it to or not. So at the beginning of 2006, he went off and he did his Yacht Masters course, full-time for 6 weeks. He did both practical and theory. He kept on saying, Anne, you've got to do something. There was no way I was going to do any exams. I was terrified of them. I hate them and I'm never any good. But the household kept pestering me, so I thought, well, maybe I could manage my radio license. So I went off and did that. I stressed the household out so much that they decided that was the first and last exam I would do. I said, okay, Mum, forget it. We joined the Island Cruising Association in New Zealand. I think there's a branch of it over here. Every year they do rallies up to Tonga, Fiji, Vanuatu. You go in a group, gives you confidence and things like that. We haven't been, but it was awesome to go along. They have a seminar dinner each month. They have talks on all sorts of things, from sail care to engines to how to clear customs, health at sea, food, preparation, everything like that. I found that really beneficial. Just listening to what other people had to say. Everybody was wonderful. You'd get invited on board people's boats, see how things were laid out. So that was really good. Now, our Seawind Experience. This was magical right from day one. We went to the Auckland Boat Show in April 2006 and we saw the Seawind for the first time. She was absolutely beautiful. We fell in love with her straight away. The awesome thing was, girls, I went to the boat show without Alec and I found her. And he was still away doing his course. So it was on the Thursday. So on the Saturday I dragged him along and we went and compared cats like everybody does. And we kept coming back to this one. We just loved her layout, and the owners of the boat were on board. We were able to talk to them. I was able to ask the wife all those questions the girls want to know. I wasn't interested in how does she sail, or how close to the wind does she point, or how big are the engines, or anything like that. Now, I wanted to know, how do you get on going to the loo when it's rough? I wanted to know, yeah, all those things you guys think, oh, please don't ask, that really is dumb. How do you cook when it's rough? How do you sleep in that little gap? I thought that would be absolutely awful. So it was really, really, it gave me a lot of confidence to talk to a woman and get her point of view and how she handled things. So we put in our order, and in 2007, September last year, we went to pick her up. There she was, sitting in the marina at Birkenhead. I burst into tears when I saw her. I couldn't believe that she was actually ours. My friends started asking me, how are you going to cope? What are you going to do about this? I said, don't worry, I've got it all sussed out. I said, what's going to happen is, we're going to do a little bit of coastal cruising, and when Alec wants to go further, either up the coast or overseas, I'm going to hop on a plane, and then I'll join him there. And they thought, oh, that's good, yeah, that's fine, and I thought that was good. But we picked her up, and the boys down there in Birkenhead were fantastic, and so were the boys from the factory. They said to her, okay, move on, and for the first 2 days, I don't want you to do anything. Just enjoy it. Sleep on it, do some cooking, go up to the chandlery, get your bits and pieces, and just live on her and enjoy it. And we did, and it was fantastic. It was a wonderful introduction. Day 3 came along. One of the boys came down from the factory and said, right, it's time to go out sailing. And I'm, okay, you'll be there, so that'll be fine. And they did. They took us out onto Sydney Harbour. I think Alec actually the first day did more deck miles than we did sea miles. Royce here had him running from one side to the other, but it was all good. The awesome thing was, these guys weren't going to let us leave Sydney without having the confidence, without giving us the confidence to do so. And that was really special to us. They go the extra mile. Then the day came and they felt we were ready, and we did too, and we went up to Pittwater, just a day's sail. We went straight out of Sydney Harbour, straight into the wind, but that didn't matter. We motored, we had the sails up, they flapped around a bit, but for me it was a good introduction going outside and taking it slowly up there. We arrived in daylight, we were able to pick up a mooring in daylight and just settle into it, and it was lovely. Awesome place to go and learn. We spent 10 days up there. During that time, Seawind had a rally up there. Again, all the boys come on board. Anything you want to know, can we help you with anything? All hands on. They sailed with us during the rally. We weren't going to race, there was no way. This was our precious new baby. We weren't going to, no, come on. And they took us out, and just everything was just, as I say, weren't thrown in the deep end. Absolutely awesome. After the 10 days there, we made our way up to Port Stephens. This is where hubby came in. He was really good. He said, right, we're going to do a night sail. So we left Pittwater in the afternoon, and we sailed at night and arrived at Port Stephens the next morning. I actually didn't realise I'd enjoy it so much. It was lovely. We had a good night. We chose the weather. We didn't have to go out in a hurry. This is the thing about cruising. And boy, guys, don't take your wife out if it's not good to start with. Don't put her off straight away. And then on to Mooloolaba. That was an interesting trip. We decided to do another night's sail here after we left Mooloolaba to go on up to Fraser. That night was a little bit rough. We left at 10 o'clock in the evening after dinner. The two friends we had with us, who were going to take the boat home with my husband to New Zealand, were both violently ill. So they went to bed. I wasn't. I was actually quite surprised. So Alec and I stayed up, and he said to me about midnight, he said, now, are you happy to stay here? Are you happy to, to stay on watch for a little while? I said, yes, I can cope with this. So he gave me a rundown on the radar and everything like that. He was just in his bunk. He was just there if I needed him. And I sat out there. Nobody came up. I let everybody sleep until 4:30 in the morning. We sailed along at 10 knots. It was absolutely beautiful. It was just, I'd been broken in gently, and I could handle it. It was good. We arrived at the Wide Bay Bar. I was absolutely terrified. I thought, oh my gosh, we've got to cross this. Again, around the Australian coast, you have wonderful Coast Guard VMR systems and things like that. They talked us through. We got in very easily, got in behind Fraser, had another beautiful run-up in calm waters doing 10 knots again. It was lovely. It was so nice actually behind Fraser. We actually decided to spend a night before we motored up the Mary River to Maryborough, where one of our friends had come from who were on the boat, and we spent a week there. And then on to Bundaberg. We realised we couldn't go any further north because the cyclone season was coming, and this is what people had recommended. So it was time to start preparing the boat for the Tasman. I didn't have my airfare at this stage, and I was thinking, that's all right. Richard, the owner of the company, had advised us in Pittwater. He said, you people are pretty new to this. He said, quite a good idea if you took Royce, the delivery skipper, with you. So I was beginning to, across the Tasman that is, so I was beginning to think, well, maybe I will be able to go, because if Royce is there, there'll be no problem. I mean, he's done thousands of sea miles, so we'll be okay. As I say, on our arrival in Bundy, we knew that was as far north as we were going to go. So this is where we'd be leaving Oz from. And Alec had told us to make ready, get our last stores, do any food prep we wanted.